It was a bright, crisp November morning in Dallas, Texas. The sun gleamed down on Dealey Plaza, casting long shadows against the concrete. The world was still, but something in the air felt different, tense, charged, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, sat in the back seat of the open-top limousine, smiling at the crowds. His wife Jacqueline by his side waved at the thousands of onlookers gathered along the road. The city was alive with excitement. Kennedy had come to Dallas to smooth over political tensions before the upcoming election, but nobody could have known this would be his last public appearance. As the limousine slowly cruised down Elm Street, the sounds of cheers and applause filled the air. The excitement was palpable, but in the shadows of the Texas Book Depository building, a different kind of excitement simmered. One born from hate, from the kind of obsession that twisted the mind of Lee Harvey Oswald. Suddenly, there was a deafening crack, followed by a second and third, each one more distinct than the last. JFK's body jerked violently, a flash of confusion crossing his face as he slumped forward, blood staining his shirt. Jacqueline screamed, her voice choked with terror, as the world around them seemed to freeze in time. The crowd's cheers turned to gasps and screams of horror as the president's limousine sped forward, trying to flee the chaos, the streets now filled with confusion and panic. Inside the car, Jackie instinctively crawled over to her husband, trying desperately to help. "Jack," she whispered, her voice trembling, "please don't leave me. Stay with me." But the life was already slipping away from him. In the building high above, Oswald stood with his rifle, eyes locked on the scope. His mind was quiet, almost eerily calm. The decision had been made long ago, but what he didn't know was that the world around him was about to shift in ways even he couldn't have predicted. Minutes felt like hours as the ambulance raced to Parkland Memorial Hospital. The doctors, their hands shaking, tried to revive the president, but they all knew deep down it was too late. A nation's heart shattered in that sterile, lifeless room. Across the country, from the bustling streets of New York to the quiet suburbs of California, America was stunned into silence. It was as if the pulse of the nation had been violently interrupted. Walter Cronkite, his voice thick with emotion, spoke to millions on live television. "Ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you, it is with the most profound sadness that I tell you the President of the United States is dead." The camera zoomed out, showing the faces of men and women, young and old, all in a collective state of disbelief. But it wasn't just the president who had been attacked that day. The very fabric of the nation had been torn. Hours passed, and the investigation into the assassination ramped up. Dallas was now a city in chaos. The FBI, CIA, and local law enforcement combed through every inch of evidence, every single lead. But nothing added up. Oswald was arrested quickly, his actions suspiciously clean. No one could understand how he had pulled off such a precise attack in broad daylight. No one could understand how a single man, with no apparent motivation, had ended the life of a man who, just hours before, had been the face of hope for a divided nation. Jack Ruby, a nightclub owner with mysterious ties to the criminal underworld, made an appearance on live television, his eyes filled with an unsettling calm. "I couldn't let him get away with it," he said, after shooting Oswald dead in police custody. The questions piled up. Why had Oswald done it? Was there someone behind him? Was it part of a larger conspiracy? The theories exploded. Weeks after the assassination, a piece of evidence surfaced that no one could have foreseen. A video, taken from a nearby sidewalk, showed a figure standing in the background at Dealey Plaza. The person, partially obscured by a nearby lamppost, looked strangely familiar. It was Jack Ruby. The FBI began digging into Ruby's background, uncovering shocking connections. He wasn't just a local businessman. He was deeply connected to individuals who had shady dealings with the CIA, the Mafia, and even the Soviet Union. Was Ruby part of a larger network, pulling strings for reasons unknown? The mystery deepened. As the nation mourned, it was clear that JFK's assassination wasn't just the death of a man, but of an ideal. The world, which had once seemed full of promise, now appeared darker and more uncertain. Jackie, once the symbol of grace and strength, was left to carry the weight of her husband's legacy alone. In the days that followed, she remained steadfast, But the weight of her grief was palpable. She had lost more than just a husband. She had lost a dream. And for the millions who watched, the question lingered: who really killed Kennedy and why? 50 years later, the questions remain unanswered. Theories about who was behind the assassination of John F. Kennedy still swirl in the public consciousness. Some believe it was a lone gunman, while others point to a web of conspiracies involving the government, the mafia, and powerful corporate interests. But one thing is clear: America changed that day. The innocence of a nation was stolen in an instant. The vision of a brighter future was replaced with fear, suspicion, and uncertainty. As we close this chapter on the tragic day that shook America to its core, we remember the lives that were lost, the questions that remain unanswered, and the deep emotional scars that still linger. If you want to dive deeper into the mysteries of history and the hidden truths that have shaped our world, make sure to like and subscribe for more.